know, if you've listened for a while to me, I think is really important, and it's critical now. And it is the issue of road safety. Something we should be mindful of throughout the entire year, but as we approach Christmas and this holiday period, it becomes more critical than ever. Unfortunately, the festive season brings with it an increase in road traffic and, tragically, a rise in road-related incidents. The human road toll of crimes often goes unnoticed beyond the statistics, but for those affected, the consequences are devastating and long-lasting. The impact doesn't end at the scene of the crash, as families find themselves navigating a complex and often inadequate system that fails to provide the support they need. A new comprehensive study conducted by Road Trauma New South Wales delves deeply into these issues, and they are an organisation of which I have great respect and I care about, Road Trauma NSW. Tom Dar is the co-founder of Road Trauma New South Wales, has been at the forefront of this important work, and I'm delighted to say that Tom is on the line. Thanks for your time, Tom.
Hi, Luke.
The report you've released is deeply impactful. Could you share more about the key findings that come from this research?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for the opportunity. So, Luke, we commissioned this report, and we've done it for a number of reasons, because we've constantly heard from our members of the secondary trauma, we call it. That's trauma that happens after the initial trauma of knowing that your loved one has been killed. And this report focuses mainly on two aspects: the compulsory third-party insurance scheme that is there to provide financial support, and also the court judicial process. So when the offender goes to court and the families of the deceased are looking for justice. So we've commissioned this report so we can go to Parliament, we can go to members of government, we can go to stakeholders, and we have identified the problems that are out there, and we can show them hardcore facts and evidence that things need to change. Some of the findings are really disappointing. Let me just give you some figures, Luke. And I hate using statistics, because behind statistics, they're human beings, they're loved ones.
100%, mate.
It's not just about numbers. But,
yes.
But this gives you an idea of the problem that we have. This report did a very comprehensive survey. Now, of the New South Wales population aged over 18, we have 6.5 million people. Now, of that 6.5 million people, 22%, which is 1.5 million, know someone that has been killed in a car crash, whether that be a criminal offence or otherwise.
Jeez.
But if we break that down even further, 288,000 people know someone personally that has been killed in a road crash due to a criminal act. And the startling thing that is really absolutely incredible is 2.7%, almost 180,000 people have experienced the death of a close family member or a friend due to a road criminal act. Now, as I said, our focus was on CTP.
So tell me what delays exist around CTP from a sense of what it should do and what it doesn't quite get done.
Yeah, okay. So obviously it's meant to provide financial support to families.
Yep.
When you lose a loved one, you just can't work. You can't go to work. Not only are you suffering trauma, you end up suffering financial stress and trauma. It's not fit for purpose, Luke. The CTP system was designed to deal with physical injuries. Example, broken arms, broken legs. The emotional injuries, such as mental, psychological injuries that are inflicted upon families of those killed in a road crash, they're different. They're not visual injuries. and a lot more complicated and complex. And those that are assessing these claims have little experience in dealing with these situations. What the report finds is that families find that it's unhumane and it re-traumatises the families. One of the problems with the CTP process is the deadline to file a claim. You have 90 days to file a claim. Now, I can assure you, Luke, in those first 90 days, the last thing on your mind is to fill out a form.
Yeah.
You can barely get out of bed. You can barely feed yourself.
I'm hearing it loud and clear.
Yeah.
Loud and clear.
Yeah, so that needs to change. And then every 28 days, you need to provide a certificate of capacity. That's what it's called, from a GP, showing that you are still affected. You need...
What do they call that? A certificate of capacity?
Capacity. Every 28 days, you need to supply that to show that you are still suffering trauma.
So you're effectively going to the GP and you're saying, can you please confirm the fact that I lost my mum or my dad or my son or my daughter and it's affected me? And the GP sits there and collects, I don't know if they bulk bill, and they give you a bit of paper every 28 days.
Every 28 days.
Seriously?
And that adds trauma to the family members.
Of course it does.
Yeah, having to prove that you are still affected.
What about in the judicial system? I mean, getting to the point that these criminal acts are dealt with, which again, sitting in court and watching this play out, you revisit all the pain again, I'm sure. Yeah. Is it dealt with quickly or is it delayed?
No, look, the judicial system needs a total revamp. It is causing trauma on top of trauma on top of trauma. Now, the problem is fatal road crimes are not viewed the same way as other crimes that result in a death. They're viewed more along the lines of an accident, and that is also in the courts. With the courts, we find that we're behind the eight ball from day one. For example, the offender can choose who they have to represent them. They can employ a high-profile legal team to convince the jury that they are innocent, where the family members have to settle for a prosecutor chosen by the DPP, and we have no say, and we don't even know what experience that prosecutor has in road crime. So the process in the courts can take up to 2 years, Luke, and
Gosh.
And until that process is finished, it's very hard for families to get closure.
Of course.
And families do want closure.
Yeah.
And so the report finds that the judicial process is focused more on the rights of the offender at the expense of the victims.
Now, people that have listened to me for a while know how I am with all of this, and which is why I spend as much time as I can talking to your group, Tom, Road Trauma New South Wales. So I just want to say to my listeners, it is absolutely important to Google Road Trauma NSW and have a look there at this report and some of the findings. And maybe, Tom, the more we have these conversations, mate, we'll get people to talk appropriately about the criminal act on the road and the dropping of the word, in some circumstances, accident, and using words like crash, and paying due respect to those who've gone through the unthinkable pain of losing someone you love on our roads. Mate, I've got to go. I want to wish you and everyone involved, Christy and all the other good people at Road Trauma New South Wales, thank you for keeping in touch with us, and we will continue our coverage of your work in the new year.